Okay. What's up? Welcome to a new episode of Movie Schmovie. This is episode number 489. My name is Steve, one of the co-hosts of the show, and as always, I'm joined by
Ron.
Fire hydrant, door, vent, door, vent. John.
John. Yeah, that was the last part of the sequence.
Yes. I'm the anomaly.
Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. I'm glad we made this happen. How's everybody doing?
Mediocre.
I was gonna say, you're like, been better. That's the
when Steve
glad
says we made this happen.
Yeah.
We had an almost abort mission, and then we had a wait a minute, let's do this mission. I don't know what you call that. We had an unbort.
Stomach in shambles. Threw up. Figured it out. I was like, I think I could do something. Yeah.
Cool. Found that motivation. Something just told you to let's make this work.
So if you were watching, it's like the sink, and then a hand came up right on the rim of the.
Like, I'm still here, baby.
You know what? There's a moment in many movies, and we should try to, like Ronald had this moment. It's the moment where the character goes off the cliff, and everybody stands there for a second, and they start to say nice things about him, and then dun dun dun, the hand comes up over, and so it is totally the we thought you were dead, but you're not dead kind of moment. So I definitely think Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade has one of those. It's not a big. They don't really make you think that anybody thinks he's dead, but they do play with that for like 10 seconds. The idea that you're supposed to be. I mean, the music and the moment plays it as though you think maybe Indiana Jones just died 2/3 of the way into an Indiana Jones movie, but it's not. Can you think of other examples of that, Ronald? The you thought they were dead, and then the hand comes up.
Yes. Kill Bill. When they put her in the grave and she's like punching through and her hand comes up.
That's a good one. It's not quite like people thinking she was dead, but that is still a good hand acting moment.
I mean, this thing thought she was dead.
It would have been weird if she had died right there, though. Like that's another case where the movie would have been really strange.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, look, we might be talking about a movie that I thought that people were going to live way longer, and they got demolished. We got one of the movies that Steve might be talking about, maybe.
I don't know. Like, my brain's fried right now. I can't even think. I know the trope that you're talking about, but I'm like, I'm struggling to think of an example of one on the spot.
Well, write us later, Steve.
I'll send it later.
Yeah, send a list.
We'll do a postmortem on this one.
If anyone's listening, they can tell Ronald supposedly was the one who had the tummy troubles, but obviously the rest of us. This is already a very loosey-goosey episode, and so I guess just letting people know. It seems like we're all a little bit. I wouldn't say tired, but it kind of seems like there's not a lot riding on this one.
I would say in general, there's not a lot riding on most of our episodes. Like, we're just kind of casually, I don't know. My approach has always been some very casual conversation with you guys. So
no, but I'm just saying every now and then we have like a big thing that we all know we're going to be talking about. But outside of this is a very scattershot episode, I think. I don't know that we lined up much. But also, Steve, I think that, what I think is riding on every episode is our pledge to the listeners.
There you go.
To give them some absolute bullshit around an hour of their time. So, let's talk about one thing, Ronald. You shared a trailer with us earlier. I think it's worth mentioning that X-Men 97 Season 2 is coming.
Yeah.
If only because it seems to be one of those things that the MCU has done that has had lasting or growing appreciation from people in recent years. It seems like it's one of the bigger successes in a lot of ways. So I didn't know. Like when you shared that with me and Steve, was it just to say, hey, look at this, or do you have special feelings about X-Men 97?
I mean, as a fan of the original series and And then I said series, and then my phone went absolutely berserk.
Oh,
Um, as a fan of the original show, very big fan. And then I don't know how this did it, but I'm up there saying, man, this may have exceeded my expectations. The animation style, the voice acting, um, it just looks really cool, man. Like I'm looking forward to what's gonna happen in season two. And I don't know, man. Like it feels very cinematic. Like that's one of the coolest things about it. Like cartoons, I think get a bad rap as not being quite as immersive for some people. It's kid stuff for a lot of people, which is
yeah.
silly. It's just another medium. I don't want people to understand that. I'd rather watch things in an animated world
Yeah.
than real life because like there's limitations to some of the special effects that you can do. Here, it's endless. Like you could, the planet can blow up, Thanos could come, anything could happen, and it all looks really cool.
Right.
Which I'm really a big fan of. That's why the Spider-Verse movies have always been so interesting to look at because there's no limitation. Like you don't feel like when you're looking at something that that you're being deprived of something. It almost feels like you're almost gaining more by seeing it in that medium. So
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. What's the thing people say? You're kind of saying this, but I've heard it phrased as like animation is not a genre; it's a medium.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And people
yeah.
talk about it like it's a genre, or like
Right,
it's all
right.
kids stuff, or like it's all, I don't know, like you said, just whimsical or less serious or less grounded. I mean, there are certain things that have more heft when you see human beings acting it out. But it's true that if you can really get into an animated world, I mean, I get really carried away by a style of animation if I like the way it's drawn and the whole thing is just fully detailed within itself. That's why stop motion animation can be so engrossing to me. It's just because of all the little details, all the little everything is fabricated for this scale and this
Right,
world,
right.
you know. And with animation, when there's a great style, you can just take pleasure in the fact that like, oh look, the lamp looks like it exists in the same world as the characters do, you
Yeah,
know, or
yeah,
the
yeah.
doorknob looks
Sure.
like it's right in this world. So yeah, I think that I don't know, the amount of control that you have as a storyteller with animation is amazing, and it seems to me like it would be incredibly daunting too to be like to get your head around all of that control that you have over the
Yeah.
end product.
Right,
So,
right. Absolutely.
um, anything else before we get to required viewing?
Well, I think-
I just want to say I'm excited about some of these early reviews breaking for Disclosure Day.
Oh yeah,
Today, it looked like the social media, or last night, I guess it was, the social media embargo. To some, it's kind of like a weird scale. I guess some of these things, I guess it is just social media that broke, but I mean, some very positive things. And I'm a little hesitant sometimes when these break a little early like this, especially social media specific ones,
yeah.
because it can be a lot of, just like influencers, and I think they really kind of leverage a lot of that stuff now with social media embargoes and things like that to try to help a movie. But sometimes it's just, it's pretty universal or pretty genuine when that stuff starts coming out. But I mean, to see some positive, especially like I've seen some coming through like from a lot of people that I follow that I do trust a lot of their feedback and reviews and feelings about movies. But just a lot of stuff, positive stuff around the movie itself, around the direction, John Williams, Emily Blunt's performance, just a lot of exciting stuff. Because like literally, I left the movie the other day. I went and saw a few movies in the theater since we last recorded, and like every time I've been there, I've seen the standee for Disclosure Day and like the little posters and everything, and it's kind of blows my mind that this movie comes out in 2 weeks.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy because it doesn't really feel. I feel like for the love that, I think we all have for Steven Spielberg, and it's just like personally probably my favorite or is my favorite director of all time. And I have like a love of just like excitement and just wonder about all the things that he does and wants to see them immediately. I don't think it translates to like box office, anymore.
It's
It,
weird, isn't it?
it's a
I heard someone
very
talk about this recently that it's like it's
yeah.
been a while since he's had not maybe not like a hit, but like a run or a streak. It's weird because you think of him as making big movies that get a
Yes.
lot of respect and a lot of
Yes.
play. But I
Yes.
wonder if it's that Mad Men principle of like only six or whatever it
Exactly.
was, a million and a half people watch it, but everybody who watches it writes about it, you
Like
know?
loves it. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that's a big thing is like there's the reputation, there's the skill, the respect, the craft, the legacy, that you see like, oh, it's tracking for like a $30 million opening, which sounds like kind of crazy, right? But I mean, I think that, your point conversations recently, especially like looking at data, it's like many of his movies don't like Ready Player One was like the last thing that opened quote unquote big.
Yeah,
Hmm.
And that itself wasn't even like massive, massive big. It was just big,
yeah,
and that was IP.
Right. I was about to say that's
Um,
arguably because of the type of IP it was too.
yeah.
exactly,
And maybe
exactly.
that intersected with, oh, it's a Spielberg movie, but it
Right.
wasn't the fact that it was a Spielberg movie that made that.
I think
You
it
know?
only helped it, but it
Yeah.
definitely was not like the factor that kind of pushed that to that level. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like a realization. So, um,
You know what's weird about Steven Spielberg? I know this is like he's a respected one of the greatest, if
yeah,
not the greatest, right?
right.
He seems like one of the only greatest that always has to reprove himself. Like
Hmm.
Mm,
like Nolan movies, why are people like
it's
what
just,
it's weird. It's like he tells a story
I know what you're
that
saying.
makes me
Yeah,
feel like I'm five again, right?
sure.
And people will watch it like Ready. I rewatched like 30 minutes of Ready Player One, and I was like, why aren't more people talking about this movie? Just as a movie, beyond the properties that are in it, it's a really good movie. It's a
Yeah,
fun movie that juggles a lot of stuff. Sure, it's not as great as a book, but the book had a lot of space to explain a lot of stuff. But for the time that he did a lot of cool stuff in that movie. But for some reason, man, it's like Steven Spielberg. They're like, it's like yeah, up and coming director Steven Spielberg's coming out with this end of the world movie. I'm like, meanwhile, they hear that the new movie Odyssey's coming out, and they fucking pre-order before they've even seen the trailer
yeah,
for the movie. It's like, what am I missing?
yeah. No, it's a real thing. It's like I think it's just like a second. It's a different wave of.
Yeah.
I think Nolan is in that run that Spielberg was in the 80s and early
Right. Yeah,
90s.
yeah.
You
I
know what I
think
mean?
you're
Like
right.
he's the
I think
brand.
so, but Spielberg still was more prolific and more
Oh,
populist
100%.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and more like warm and made smaller movie. You know what I mean? Like Spielberg was more of a movie beast in some way,
Yeah.
whereas like
Yeah, yeah.
Nolan is a little bit more of like the auteur, like trying to push that line forward. And I know that a
Yeah.
lot of people would say Steven Spielberg is kind of auteurist because he's like a name brand director and he has like a stylistic thing. But I think to me, the remarkable thing about him is you look at the movies he's made and the types of things that you think of as Spielbergian. There's definitely those, but there's also a lot of things where you're like, oh yeah, he does a lot of just like adult dramas, you know,
Yeah.
Right, right, right.
that he adds a production value to. And I think even probably in his most mundane movie, you would find some incredible, uh, graceful camera work. The way that if you see someone break down one of his shots, where in
It's crazy. Yeah.
one shot, not like it won't be a shot that screams oneer, like oh look at the oneer, look at the all in one shot. But if you
Yeah.
notice, you'll be like, oh, there's like 5 setups in this shot or 6 setups in this shot, and where the
Yeah.
camera rests, and you get like a nicely composed shot, and all the movement in between those setups will be elegant. So it's like the guy is at that level, but I think that I don't know. It's just like it's one of the cool things about him is that there's a populist quality to his movies.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
even
yeah.
if he's not necessarily the working man's filmmaker, he's made a lot of movies that are intended to go like down the middle and like bring in as many people as possible.
100%. Yeah.
Whereas I do think Nolan has the kind of like there's a there's a willingness to kind of confuse and confound people that, again, I don't know if I always agree with Christopher Nolan's choices, but he has been one of those guys who has like been able to like it's been part of the story that he's a stickler and he makes movies exactly the way he wants them to, and he's kind of uncompromising and everything. So
Yep, yep.
um Whereas with Steven Spielberg, the story around him was much more like the Wunderkind, you know, like, oh, who's this nerdy kid who keeps turning out movies, which is just a different vibe. But those are interesting comparisons, Ronald, because Christopher Nolan is one of the only like name brand directors who as we've said before, like you feel like people are sold on the Odyssey because it's a Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah,
it doesn't even matter if they like the trailer. In fact, there was a lot of pushback on the trailer.
It's very strange, man.
You know, like I don't know. This is probably a whole separate podcast, but there is a very specific reason that I genuinely believe, and it's not something that I'm special. It's like it's not a special thought I have, but I do believe this. That the reason that Nolan is the brand that he is now, and it's all because of Batman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that generational timing of when his Batman trilogy hit, especially The Dark Knight, like that generation is now 10 to 15 to 20 years past that.
Yeah.
And are in a like if you were a teenager or a kid watching that, they're now out there, like that's their guy.
Yeah.
Just like Spielberg is maybe our guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it's the timing of when that to your point, John, that populist, like that thing, that IP, that huge thing that he had.
Yeah.
Because he was an incredible filmmaker from the jump. Like he had love and respect and accolades but not so much the box office. And then, you know, Batman hits and that's a turning point for him because everything post Batman are blockbuster movies.
Yeah.
Where he's taking full advantage of like
100%
and like
100%
his ability. He even said before the Odyssey was even announced as his next project, I think, after Oppenheimer, that like he kind of feels like it's his responsibility to make massive movies because he's one of the few people that can get
100%
kind of things these kind of things made. That like he said it's tempting to go back and make a small film again, but I kind of feel like it would be. I mean, it was both a pompous and a kind of accurate thing to say like, but I also feel like it would be a mistake for me to take the capital that I've built at this point and then like go small when I'm you know, I can do all these giant things. That's kind of a James Cameron sort of attitude, you know, of like it would be a real shame if I were to.
I mean, like, but he
limit my vision.
He really did elevate those movies. Like, I mean,
I think we were used seriousness to them. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing like them. I mean, like, there's comparatively nothing. If you can give me something like there's TV show versions of things like that, but a trilogy of a very mainstream character with that much attention to detail and seriousness, and I mean he elevated it in a way that it just hasn't it hadn't been done before. I don't know, man. Like I hate the way that people keep going back to it like it's like the only good Batman movie, which fucking makes me angry because the last Batman movie was so good to me. But that I could also get my hand off of Christopher Nolan's balls for 2 seconds. It seems like that generation.
That's good.
But
only 2 seconds.
It feels like this generation.
That's all I need. Is just
the generation that we're referring to is just always carrying his balls just as he walks around. They just worship him in every way, shape,
Is that a nice thing to do for some? I guess it is.
I mean,
keep him from banging around down there.
Yeah, it's just.
Like you need underwear because you don't have someone to hold.
Right,
them.
They become hand underwear. That's just how much they cup his balls, man. Like,
so this is just proof that we'll never have Christopher Nolan on the show.
Maybe he'll like.
Yes, I don't know.
Maybe he'll like the honesty.
Maybe he's like, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
We've said some pretty nice things about him.
Yes, I think we've been.
I mean, I mean, sometimes you want your balls to have a break. Maybe that's what he's been.
But honestly, it's like if someone with a nice, smooth, cool hand, we're cupping them all the time.
Yeah, you'd be like, "Hey, this is elevated ball cup."
Yeah. But now I'm wondering, how do they get the hands in the pants? Do you have to have some kind of for them?
There has to be some consent.
Ronald, that could look inappropriate.
Yeah,
in some situations.
yeah, yeah.
I
He's
just
like,
thought about how that could seem a little weird.
yeah, he's just on
Um,
the red carpet talking about Odyssey, and it is like a
it's like, who's that guy? The camera just pulls out, and there's a guy standing there with his hands like looks like shoved in a pocket, like an
mm,
extra pocket. We've got it worked out.
yeah.
Pulling a Nolan. Um, so yeah, required viewing.
Yeah, my pick this week. Movie called Exit 8. I mentioned like it was one of those ones that got like a nice little run here in some theaters here in the States. I sadly missed it in theaters. But we were talking a little bit about some of the game stuff, and like Ronald had mentioned last episode, it is based on the game, which I didn't really know until I saw some reviews about it.
All
But
right.
I just heard good things about it. I had the premise is cool. We were talking about like the what was it like the liminal spaces. I don't. Does that apply to this movie, John? Like,
I think it does. I think
yeah,
it's
Yeah, yeah.
adjacent. It's
that's what we were.
adjacent.
That's also the context we were talking last episode. But but yeah, like just this like mystery puzzle game movie that I just again I'd heard really cool things about and just thought it may be good timing that it came on video on demand when it was my turn again, so I took the opportunity to go for it. I was looking it up a little bit, and like it seems like for the lack of people that know about it here, it had the highest 3-day opening for a live action film in Japan this year so far, which seems like a pretty big accomplishment. I mean, there's a lot
Yeah.
of much bigger movies that are animated from the market, but I mean, also like some other strong debuts other places across the globe. But I mean, to kind of come over here and have a smaller opening and still do it decently well for the reach it had. This was like one of those things. It's like I'm thankful that it came out at all, and that it's available at home now. But I mean, it's like it got the attention that I guess it needed to get to get that release. I guess is what I'm getting at because like it did really well in Japan. To actually get a stateside release to the way it did. But um, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think of it? I don't know. You want to start?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like being lulled into things, kind of like, you get used to the system.
Hmm.
You're like, oh man, I'm very uncomfortable with being getting stuck in things like the repetition.
Oh yeah.
It's something that actually drives me crazy. So the liminal space combined with the repetition of it all just really drove me crazy in a good way. Like, seeing the anomalies that took place as he was going around in this circle. And then the story changes perspective was a couple of times. I wasn't expecting that.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, and then figuring out how each person was affected. I love that, man. It really served as a cool device to not bore me. But I will say it's a little too long. I kind of wish that each person's perspective was slightly shorter, but who am I? Who am I? Japanese market loved it, I'm like, that's a pretty big place. So, but overall, I thought it was fun as hell. Um, the special effects, some were incredibly good, like looked very like real, and then some of them looked like I could have done them as in a TikTok filter. It's like it's like the mix between the two. But the ones that were really good, um, I might have something to say about another liminal space, something that I saw today.
Oh shit.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't know. I really liked it too. I felt like again, not knowing a ton about even the game it's based on. Um, I think I like the idea of what was it called? Like anomalies, like at each exit and like, kind of not noticing it or not really realizing what it was would kind of like reset everything.
Yeah, it was almost like a little game to watch it. You would
Yes,
sometimes catch things
exactly.
before the characters would catch it.
Exactly.
And
Like
then
not
the idea that you see an anomaly and then you turn around and then next time you see that anomaly, it's not an anomaly, because it's part of the sequence now. And
Right.
it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
that's the mechanic of that is just like it is very repetitive, and you do sometimes. I mean, part of that is the effect it's supposed to have of like turning those corners one more time and coming around that one more time and seeing the number, but this time it's different. That can get very repetitive.
Yes.
But I do think that the movie I think you're right, Ronald, that it was like a little stretched out. But I also think there were times still where later in the movie when it would come back around where it would be effective to me. All like there would be it would freshen me up somehow. I'd have to pinpoint. I don't have it. I didn't take notes, but I'd have to pinpoint those moments where I was like, okay, I was starting to drift a little, but then it got me back. By either shifting a perspective or by showing a different side of things. So it's hard to know with a movie like this if maybe wearing you out a little bit isn't part of the device of the movie. Because it is extremely repetitive. And like if you knew at the beginning that you were going to be looking at that same hallway essentially for the whole run of the movie, you
Right.
might go, I don't know. But watching the movie, it's broken up just enough that you're in the mindset of the characters. And I did like the switching perspectives too. That helped liven it up a little bit. I don't know if I fully understand, like I think I get what's going on with the story. But I was trying to look for connections, especially with the boy, the character of the boy. I was trying to look for like, is that him representing his childhood, or is that his potentially unborn child? I felt like I was torn between those different interpretations as the movie went along. But and I still don't like know what the rules of the space are. Like
Yeah,
why
yeah,
did
yeah.
why did he end up in this loop? Like I don't know if that quite ever, maybe it doesn't need to make sense, but I don't know if I missed something about like what caused these characters to get stuck in this loop, or if it's actually just a place where if you go through there you get stuck.
Right, right. I don't know. And I mean, I think that's part of the allure of some of that stuff. Like, I think it's like you're watching it and they're trying to figure it out where they're in it, and then the rules get bigger, and it's like, yeah. But I wound up feeling the same way. I'm like, I don't quite understand it, but I do know that I don't ever want to go to exit 8. I
If anyone
don't
ever
know.
says take the subway, or if your girlfriend who's pregnant on the phone says come here and help me sort this out, and then
Yeah.
you're taking, but at that point it might be too late already. If that's happening and you're on the subway and then you see that it's exit 8, what would you do then? If you miss your
Yeah.
exit, is that like now exit 9 is an even scarier
Yeah.
place to be?
Can you tell that baby? Can you tell that baby to shut up?
Yeah, that guy.
What the fuck was wrong with that guy, man?
That's a lot of people, man. Like that's
Yeah,
just,
some people are. Yeah, yeah, you're
that
right.
guy is a
Absolutely.
lot of people, sadly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of felt like the boy was, the boy was. I felt like that was supposed to be like his unborn child.
I think that
Yeah.
at the end makes
Sure.
that clearer, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
in the movie I was trying to read because he kept saying things that he had in common with the boy, and then he didn't know his mother, and you just wondered like
Sure.
the vision of the woman and the fact that it was the woman that he kept seeing. I mean, it was clear when the little boy says that's my mom, and we know that's the girlfriend. I think we'd seen her. Had we seen her talking on the phone with him? Or had
Yeah.
she just been a
Yeah, I
voice?
think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that connection was there. But I guess even as I'm talking about it, I'm realizing it's so repetitive in that way that it's hard for me with one viewing to remember where some of those story points were revealed to us.
Yeah.
But definitely the first time through, I was engrossed, and it's like I mean, it's been a long day, so if it would have put me to sleep if it was a boring movie.
Yeah.
It was saying it was repetitive is not the same thing as saying it was boring.
The water part felt like literal childbirth.
Yeah, it all felt
Like
yeah.
he was like kind of like delivering the baby.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
that
yeah,
part
yeah.
felt really heavy. Like he's just
Yeah.
like trying to save the kid and like sacrificing himself in a way that like
At least
it's
prioritizing the kid, right?
yeah. Prioritizing the kid and thus maybe sacrificing himself. Maybe
Yeah.
it didn't know. It was like very unclear how deep that water was. It could have been really shallow or very deep. But yeah. I think there's something about that part that felt like it was about the childbirth and some of the psychological things that.
Yeah, I can see that. I hadn't actually thought about that interpretation, but if we're all looking at this as like a couple deciding what to do about a pregnancy,
Yeah.
sort of is the overarching story, then that moment could easily, stand in for some kind of symbolic birth or the
Yeah.
like because it's in a strange way that's like a very positive. It's like the end of the movie puts a much more positive spin on this environment than I was getting, because there was that moment. Maybe there was more than one moment, but there was one moment at least where the word hell pops up on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
It was right before, I believe, the Walking Man. If that's is that what he was called? The second guy, the Walking Man. That guy, before his story popped up, I think the word hell was on the screen, and I was beginning to think, like, what have these people done to be in this place? But there was never really any indication of that. I mean, I guess the indecision at the beginning that he talks about with her, where he basically says there was a woman being berated on the train and I didn't do anything to help her, and that makes me think I'm not fit to be a father, or at least that's how I kind of took what he said.
Yeah.
Like, if at the end he's now feeling like he's fit to be a father because he's ready to intervene in that situation, maybe that's where that seems like the arc of the character. But it's not like you felt like he really did. That doesn't feel like a sin worth punishing.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe a moment of cowardice should be punished, I guess.
There were lots of other adults that could have also.
Right. He was one of 50 people who didn't.
Yeah.
Help, right?
He wasn't even the closest.
Yeah.
To the
exactly.
situation.
What's he going to do? Like climb over people?
Yeah. There were lots of men that could have just been like, "Hey, shut up," to the guy that was talking shit and slapped his face. But
I do want to know, like, if I feel like we should have seen that guy once he got off the train. Like,
yeah.
I hope he had to come to like exit 50 or something.
Right.
He's down there longer. I felt the frustration of the one guy when he'd made it up to 6, and he was like, "All right," and then he was back to 0. He just fucking flipped out. But I think that, what was it? He didn't notice the knob on the door. There was something he didn't notice. Okay.
Yeah.
It's cool. I dig it.
Yeah.
It's a good movie, man.
It's based on a game, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so I could totally see that. The gameplay being similar to that. Repetition, the idea of repeating something until you get it right, that's 100% gameplay. So,
you're up, John.
All right. Well, remember a couple months ago when we suddenly decided we were doing a vampire rotation, and I said the movie I was about to choose
going to do something,
was a gift to one of you, or I thought of it as a gift to one of you for a particular reason, and you'll understand why I thought it was a gift to one of you in a particular. For a particular reason in a second. This is a movie, and it's also now it's more seasonally appropriate, I think. So I will go ahead and say that. It's a summertime kind of vibe based on what this movie is about. And it's also in a genre that I don't often pick a movie from. In fact, I don't know if I've picked a sports movie before this moment in time. But you both have told me I need to see, and I feel like the universe has a few different times thrown into my path and suggested that John Walker should see Moneyball.
Yes.
From 2011. Starring Steve's personal friend, Brad Pitt.
Yep. Friend of the pod.
So, yeah, I am looking forward to seeing this movie. It's like, again, I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about it, and I've only heard people either say, like, it's surprisingly good, or they seem to think it's really great. And so, yeah, I'm kind of excited to watch it because it looks like a movie. I mean, looking at who's in it, especially, I can totally believe that this movie is pretty darn great. So I'm excited to check it out. Moneyball. Play ball.
Just last month, April 28th, it was restored. A 4K restoration came out. So the digital copy should be restored as well as the physical, if you get the physical. I don't know why you would get the physical in this case if you were watching along with us, but
well, if you like Brad Pitt so much, say that you want to like take it and like rub your cheek on the cover of the DVD.
I would do that. I don't know. It takes a little too
You're putting away a DVD as you say that. Why does Steve have DVD burns? I'm saying DVD as though that's what you'd be watching on Blu-ray. Come on, John. Or not even Blu-ray anymore. Now it would just be 4K, right? What would we say?
Yeah, I
We
guess
would say
4K,
we would
right?
just say disc.
DS.
So now let's get into some of these films that we've seen. Now, Ronald, you referred to a liminal space film that you saw today.
Yes.
I could refer to a liminal space film that my son and I caught this afternoon as well.
Is it a part of Gang Gang?
It's a gang. It's a whole gang thing. It's a whole gang vibe.
All right. Yeah. I guess
So we're talking about Backrooms, I guess. There's no reason to be too coy.
We saw Baccarat, the movie.
saw Baccarat, the movie. Yeah, so what did you think of Backrooms? And maybe talk a little bit about what did you expect other than the gang imprint being something where you said to yourself, this looks like they're doing something a little bit different than their usual elevated horror. This feels like it's aiming at something bigger maybe than they might normally do. But I don't know. I've been really intrigued by this movie from the moment it was announced. So, talk about Backrooms.
Well, I'm gonna do a pun, and excuse me, I apologize. I'm a dad. When I saw that Chiwetel Ejiofor was starring in this, I knew that this was something I could chew into, and I'd be in the edge of my seat
For the whole time.
Yeah. There's a reason why they chose him. You know what I mean? Like, this guy brings a lot to the table. So at first I'm like, they had to have chosen him for a reason. And yeah, I see why they did it. There's a lot of liminal horror in this thing. Like, they play with spaces in a way that just, if I were in this situation, suey. Not even gonna lie to you. Suey. Just neck broke. I would jump off of something high. It's so scary at some point.
I didn't know if you were saying you were going to sue somebody
No,
in a
suey.
cute way, and then I thought suey like suey when someone calls a pig.
No,
You're
suey.
talking about okay. I see what
Suey.
you're saying. Take a walk on the suey side.
Yeah. And I don't even talk like that. But
No, I know. I know.
It is. I mean, like, it plays with some things, just sanity wise, that just man.
So, are you in on the videos and shit? I feel like we may have talked about this last time.
I haven't watched the originals. No, I haven't watched the original Backrooms, but I've watched
similar things.
What's the group? What's the group from Baltimore? They did a liminal one, but it wasn't like funny. I mean, it wasn't like scary. It was like it played with spaces in a weird way. What was that? What was that big comedy group from Baltimore that like? God, man. You know what I mean? They were on Adult Swim. God, what are their names? It was a comedy troupe. Man, I feel like I'm going crazy.
I feel like I've gone crazy because I did not know that a Baltimore comedy troupe
Wham City.
Okay, I did not know.
What? You never heard of Wham City?
Maybe
Okay,
I have, but I've forgotten the name.
So
but either way,
please understand, they were responsible for like
let's edit that out so that Steve and I don't sound like we don't know Wham
They
City.
were responsible for 50% of the weird shit that was on Adult Swim, adult wide, like any of the live action stuff. Like, they did a lot of weird stuff. And one of the things they did was like a liminal space thing that kind of played on space and time, and it was strange. Like,
okay, so Dan Deacon. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah.
So they were huge, man. Like, there was a time where, but they were very, very underground. It was like you had to go to like what's the place off of North Avenue? Rest in peace. The Royal, the Crown. Yeah. They would have comedy shows there. I was on one of their shows before. Really?
No, I remember this. Wham City was eluding me 100%. So also, when you were saying like a comedy thing, I thought of them as more of a multi, whatever. I got you. No, I know all of it.
So guys, look up Wham City and Adult Swim, and they had a cool impact on Baltimore. A Baltimore comedy troupe had an insane impact on Adult Swim and the world of like strange comedy. And that was one of the first liminal things I'd ever seen in my life. Like I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? Um, this movie is playing on a lot of our fears of space and time and uh yeah, it's things not looking the same when you come back to them. Um, I thought it was incredible. I mean, like I thought it was really, really, really one of those things that just once it got going, it really picks up to like a level. I was like, I didn't know what was happening. I don't know who is responsible, and then it add little elements even toward the end, and I still explained more, and I still was like, oh no, oh no, this is not putting me in a place where I want to be sanity wise, and then it ends crazy. So um, this is a fun one. Like it's not for everybody. It's kind of the similar thing as Exit 8. It's a patience thing. It's really a thing of watching this thing unfold and Chiwetel Ejiofor's character exploring this space and trying to explain it to other people or maybe not explaining it to people and getting them into space. It's just a lot of that involved. But the combination of the footage that they have from the camcorder and then the actual footage from the movie, it's just really cool to see them go between it and have some
Yeah.
of the special effects within the camera. I'm curious to see how they did some of that. They might have just put a filter over some shit and called it a day, but it really does look cool watching the camcorder versus, and this takes place not now, my understanding, right? This
Yeah.
clearly isn't now, right?
I
Or
I
it
don't
could
know
be.
I don't know if it was made clear when it happens, but like definitely the televisions and the technology feels very 80s, you know.
Hold on
So,
for a second, sorry.
yeah.
Technology randomly cutting on. Did you hear that?
I was about to say, are you in a back room?
What the hell is going on?
You're you're
Still on.
you've got like one piece of furniture that looks crooked in the background that actually looks like it could be one of those
Oh no.
back rooms things. It's just I think it's just the sheet hanging down crooked. But yeah, I found one of those when I was talking about those. I think they were just called pool rooms. So yeah, I found this. These were the videos that I watched occasionally, where it would just be like moving through a space like this, like an
Uh,
underground pool with tiled walls and tiled corridors, and it would be kind of endless, and it was like empty, and it was just eerie, and it was very much like the kind of space that you move through in a dream, and the people that were making them were clearly making them to be kind of eerie, but for like without putting anything in them except just you moving through this space, and occasionally you move through a shadowy spot, and occasionally you go down a slide that for a second the like the angle and the darkness of where you're sliding into is really kind of creepy, and then you come back. It's
Yeah.
like, so it was just weird, and it was like I remember at the time thinking it was pretty fascinating because we've all dreamed about those places where you wander around and the place doesn't make sense. And I don't know, I think most people have had the experience of dreaming about the same space again, like,
mm,
or it seems like the same space, like some part of your dream self remembers going to this place, and it's you think it's the same place but it's shifted or it's different,
Right.
but you have like a memory of your dream within a dream or something. And it's like I think we've all had those weird experiences. So I think tapping into that with videos, and it's like it's an interesting application of a certain level of prowess with effects too, because you don't have to have it doesn't have to be elaborate, great CGI. if
Right,
you're
right.
doing something that just looks like a corridor, or if you're just tweaking something. I'm not even sure how they did some of this. And yeah, Backrooms, I don't think I've watched those videos. I may have seen a few clips, but I've seen stuff that's adjacent to it. So I was always very intrigued by this idea of like a lore or a mythology around those places. I will say though that the movie is like, while it's like, I kind of want to talk about what's great about it, but first I'll talk about just my general feeling, which is like, after seeing Hokum and after seeing Obsession, this didn't give me that satisfying feeling at the end that those horror films did. Of like, I walked out going like, oh wow, that really felt complete. But that's because the overarching story, in my opinion, what Backrooms does with its overarching story is incredible when they're in the backrooms. And it's pretty good with the human story. Like, the script just does not feel quite like it's there for some of the stuff that sets up, like you're talking about Chiwetel Ejiofor's character, who I think is great and really fun to watch. I don't really, I mean, just on a storytelling level, I don't really like where his character goes once he's inside. I feel like the last act of the movie throws some stuff at us that feels like a story I wasn't quite watching. I think we were watching it in a way, but like the fact that he's kind of an unpleasant guy in the opening made him more interesting. And then later that's played more like this guy's a psychopath or something like that. And I just felt like it was more interesting when they hadn't put so much dip on that chip, so to speak. And I also think that like his relationship with his therapist is just crazy. It's just one of those times where I'm like watching it going, she's a terrible therapist. Like, and I don't think we're supposed to think she's a good therapist necessarily, but she's just very narcissistic. The way she talks to him, and like, I just don't, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Your therapist should not be saying things to you like, no matter what you do, you'll be stuck in a pattern back where you started all alone. I just don't think your therapist says things like that to you. But he seems like a hothead too. So anyway, there's not a lot going on that I objected to, but I do feel like the human story. I don't know how old the screenwriter is. I know the director's
He's 20, right?
But the screenwriter is
it's a different age.
I don't know if he's as young, but there were times in this movie where I was blown away that a 20-year-old
yes
with this. And then there were times where I was like, yeah, this might be what a 20-year-old thinks adults act like. I don't know. It's and I don't say that to be snarky, because I think the movie really works on some levels. But it's interesting to see this A24 sort of level of elevated horror, or whatever we want to call that, projected onto an idea that is like, half of it is like beautifully formed, and the other half, the human story, just is sort of like, again, after seeing Hokum and Obsession, two horror movies where the human story absolutely connected, this movie is an example of one where they didn't quite nail it. Like, I get to the end of the movie and I don't really know what the story of the movie was. However, was I completely sucked in by when he's first exploring the space, Ronald? I could have watched that go on forever, honestly.
Me too.
And then later when they go in with the camcorder, I mean, I almost would have watched the more experimental version of this movie where they really just wander around the back rooms the whole time, because it's so eerie and so cool. I've read a little bit about the sets. They really did make these labyrinthine sets that the actors could get disoriented in, you know. And then did you start picking up on the kind of pattern? Like, there's certain signposts that you can say, oh, I kind of know where they are. In the space. So it seems like the space shifts, but it also seems like certain aspects of it stay the same.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just really cool and really eerie, and I would totally watch the sequel this movie seems to be setting up. In my opinion, I don't know. It really totally feels like there's more lore here. This movie does not attempt to seal the deal and tell the whole story. I don't know that they need to, but I mean, I was totally sucked in and immersed in those scenes, from the sound design that sounds like weird music that's like piped in somewhere else, but you can kind of hear it echoing, and then the buzzing of the fluorescent lights when they were walking through stuff. All that stuff was so immersive.
That's like repetitive voice. That's like voiceover thing with, you know, when they go past the stanchions thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was like, what was it saying? Because I feel like it was every language saying the same thing, but I never heard the English version of it. But no, it's like I just feel like in that, maybe you know what I mean, right? It just feels like in the last act after the setup, I was really thinking it was going to go to some bold, weird place, but instead it felt it made it much more about the psychology of not even the characters, of the one character. I don't know. It was still cool though visually, and even in the scene that I'm talking about that kind of went off the rails for me, there's some stuff going on that's just creepy. Like those other entities that they encounter are just so weird. So, yeah. Steve, I think it's great that there's such mystery around this, and if you don't know much about the story, I think you're in good shape.
I know nothing about it.
No, I was about to say, I think you're in good shape. I think you're in good shape checking it out with high hopes, because I think the stuff that works is just, it really does work. It's like,
is it? I mean, like, does it feel like a horror film?
I think so.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, it really does. But it is playing around with. The one thing that really makes it a little different is that it's not trying really hard to hit on some of the tropes of all of that stuff. Like there's some tropes, don't get me wrong. There's some elements that feel like, oh, okay, I'm this hard, but the way that it plays with space is more scary than anything else. Like it doesn't I just don't see that very often in things. It almost feels like if you were stuck in your own brain or something. Like it feels like that sort of thing. Like it is the rooms get weirder and weirder and weirder. It's like,
and the way they connect gets so weird too. Like you'll go to a room and all the furniture will be pushed into a corner, blocking the door that gets you out of that room. And then you'll look to the side and see that there's a little narrow space that is actually the way out of that room, you know? And it's which again is very dreamlike. It's very video gamey in a sense, where you're just kind of exploring. But that stuff was captivating to me. Like, especially what you just said, Ronald, going into a new room and then for a second scanning around and then like figuring out what's fucked up about this room. Oh, this room has a pit in the middle that's got chairs in it. You know, and all the furniture that's like melting in and out of the floor. And it's the design is, I mean, amazing. I thought the sound design and the set design were just,
and it looks very practical. Like nothing about it looks fake. Like when you go into another room, you're like, oh my, what is this? How did they make this? Like, it looks strange. It looks like when you go to like, you know, when you're like in college, you go to your friend's weird art show, and it's like life as we know it disappear, and it's like mannequins and shit like that. It feels like that. Like it feels like that, like an art show, but in these rooms. It is.
Yeah, or even like a bombed out, like if you've ever been to like a one of those warehouses that people have carved out art studios in, some party that's kind of bombed out afterwards. Like there was that one lower level that really felt like almost like, or even more so like a sorting center for donated clothes or something like that. You know, it's just, there's just so many things. You could practically smell it too. It smelled the movie, there should have been a scratch and sniff version of this movie. You can smell like mold and like stuffiness and cigarette smoke stale in the air or something. I'm fascinated with it. And I just saw where Kane, what's his name?
Kane Parsons
has said that sequels have always been part of the plan with this. Like, there's no way to wrap up the lore and the storyline that he has in mind in one movie, which is, I appreciate that. And I could see this totally. I would watch another movie of this, but I do think that's, in my mind, the weakness of this movie is it doesn't feel like it tries to give us a full story about the Backrooms. It feels like it's really trying to give us the more the idea of these people that get caught up in it. And I like I said, I just don't think that part is nearly as successful as the Backrooms themselves, which are, they just tap into something primal. And what you're saying about it being scary, Steve, it's possible you would watch it and go, it wasn't that scary to me. Right. But I think that almost anybody that watches this will get that creeping sensation Ronald was talking about of just, it gets weirder and you feel more and more like, I wouldn't keep going. Like, and you know what? If I were to explore a space like this, Ronald, you know what I would not do that people in movies do all the time and that Chiwetel Ejiofor can't stop doing? I would not go, hello?
Yes. Hello? Yeah.
I'm here. Everybody, if there's anything in here, I want you to know exactly where I am.
Yeah, it,
But boy, he's good. He's
he's
so good.
so good, man. Who is the woman? She's somebody's kid, isn't it?
I think her name is Blanky McUnderplay. Like I really do think like her character has like trauma and a story, but it's like it's made her underreactive to things until she isn't. I just did not. She did not work for me as a character. I'll just say that right there. Like I hate to say it because
Worst person in the world. That's where I know her from. I'm like, where do I know her from? It was
Oh yeah,
that
she's like
she's like
yeah,
a in
What is it? Renata
yeah,
Reinsve or something like that. Like
yeah.
she
she's
seems cool.
pretty. Yeah, she's
I've seen
very.
interviews with her where she seems cool, but her character did
She's
not
like
register with me.
model-esque too in it. Like it's interesting the way that they use her. The what she does in this is really interesting because it's probably what I would have done if I looked like her at that time. I would have. It's interesting. It's interesting. It's a cool movie, man. I'm not so hard on the ending as John, but John's not being hard on the ending.
The
But he's just
very
saying
ending, I
like,
think, is cool. Like the
yeah,
very ending, I just think where the third act goes feels like it's just sometimes you're watching a movie and it just doesn't go in the direction that you would have it go,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
but the final images I think are really haunting, and
Oh yeah,
it's back in that sweet spot of what this movie's doing really well. So. Um,
Cool.
like,
I definitely
it's
can't wait to
definitely
see
it's
it.
definitely part of the wave of horror right now that's really doing some cool things. So
yeah,
even though
yeah.
it's not as like when I say not as satisfying as Hokum and Obsession, I'm talking about two movies that I found really satisfying. So
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, we talked about it before. Like, I feel like this run here is pretty special. I also really liked Hokum. I actually went and saw Obsession the other day with a friend of the pod, Lauren, one
with
of
your
our
kids,
movie
you should have
days.
said.
Who's the Lauren thing?
Yeah. And I loved it. Like I felt like that was a really special movie. Like for the genre, like beyond like what's happening with it in terms of like its box office and like the fact that it actually is like catching on like crazy, you know. Um I thought Obsession was just fantastic. Like I thought the performances were great. The direction is like so good.
Hmm.
There's so many great scenes in that movie. Like again, both Kane and Curry Barker, these young filmmakers coming up off of like YouTube and kind of cutting their teeth there, just kind of crossing over into these pretty big directorial debuts. Uh, I don't know, man. Like the performance, the Indian Navarrete, I think is her name,
Yeah.
is phenomenal. I thought Michael Johnston, the guy who plays Bear, was great in it as well.
Hmm.
But just some really great sequences, a great hook. Like this One Wish Willow thing is just such a great plot device, story
Mm.
device, monkey paw, whatever you want to call it. It's just like it works so well. And I've seen a lot of people talking about like they could do, and maybe even Curry talked about it, but like like an anthology show or something around that device, like this One Wish Willow thing, like where how have people misused this thing, like a Twilight Zone type series
Mm.
around that, which
Yeah.
I would watch all the time. But the movie is just great. Like if the audience, it plays so well to an audience. I went to a Wednesday matinee that was nearly sold out. It was insane. Like it was awesome to watch it with a big crowd and everything played so well. I thought even the stuff with the friends in the movie was really great. Was it Ian and Sarah in the film? But Nikki is like the standout, man. Like that
Hmm.
performance, that character, some of those sequences, like with what she's doing, like physically in some of those scenes, and kind of snapping in and out of, what well, I guess like this spell type thing that she's under, because of this wish he makes was just I don't know, just like really special, I think. And it's exciting to see it do so well to begin with, but like it's unheard of. I think it actually is like a historic thing. Like
Yeah.
right before we recorded, I read an article that was saying that like outside of the Christmas corridor, like it's the first time in like recorded box office tracking that a movie has gone up almost 40% in its second
Hmm.
weekend.
Holy moly.
And that's against like, big movies like a Mandalorian and Grogu movie,
Right.
like big, four
Yeah.
quadrant type movies. And and going into this week, like as of, today we're recording on a Thursday, but yesterday when I saw the film, the tracking or the box office for that is like it actually it actually replaced it's number one at the box office. Like it passed, for the day it made more than Mandalorian.
That's crazy.
Like, but the back room coming out this weekend, obviously that kind of eats into probably what Obsession will do, but it's just a really exciting thing to see movies do that well and catch on like that. But Obsession is like a special one, I think. Like
Yeah.
I really liked Hokum as well, and like they're two great times at the movie, but I think Obsession and the reason that it's kind of catching on is because it is more of like a straight down the middle like horror film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this monkey paw approach to this bad thing happening from
It's a
our,
clean concept.
Yeah.
absolutely like it's straight down the middle, not hard to get. Like it moves quick, it's creepy, it's funny at times, um, and a fucking awesome ending. Like just a
Yeah.
really killer ending, man.
Mm.
Like when that thing cuts, it's just like, man, they just knocked it out of the park, I thought. I mean, the ending was amazing.
Yeah. The ending is that perfect. Like I may have said this last time, but it's perfectly set up by the movie. Like you
Yes.
feel like that's what you're building towards, and that might
Yeah.
be what I was saying about Backrooms, that I didn't quite feel that when I say I thought it was really good, but it didn't feel as satisfying. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is it
Mm.
doesn't have that kind of like,
Yeah, that's
oh,
the
the
perfect
puzzle
word.
piece falls into place, and you go, this is exactly the movie I've been watching, and this is exactly the ending that they've been setting up, and they had the boldness, whatever you want to say, to like deliver that without,
To do it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Did you
Yeah, I can't.
see
Go ahead, Ron.
you see that Obsession and Hokum are coming out on PVOD next
Well,
Tuesday?
I was gonna say that's what's being reported, but apparently there's a question around whether Obsession is gonna still come out or not because
Oh,
of how well it's
yeah,
doing.
yeah.
Like I think there's a lot of pressure to not put it on digital so quickly when it's got so much momentum at the box office. I feel like the only thing the only reason it might still come out on digital is because of Backrooms coming out, and Backrooms itself is supposed to have some historic opening. Like it's tracking at a
yeah,
$65 million opening,
Oh wow.
which will be the biggest like debut. I think what is it? The biggest debut film for a director. What was it's something like or the youngest. Oh my God, I can't remember now. I'm just like talking in circles. That number, there's some record or some special thing, like the biggest opening for like the youngest director ever, like that's not like IP based or something like that. It's some wild thing.
Mm.
But or maybe it's just specifically for horror. I can't remember. But I mean that eating into Obsession is gonna probably be a real thing. Like it went, I think the timing for Obsession was pretty great in the sense that it had 2 weeks on Backrooms, so it had the time to do it. So I don't know that it goes up again this week. That'd be insane if it does. But yeah, it'd be crazy if they both come out on PVOD next week and people can watch these movies that we've been, kind of raving about in some form or fashion. But um, Obsession was awesome. Like that's all I got to say. It was great. Highly recommended it. It's one of my favorite things I've seen this year. And again, like I can't stress enough the idea of like seeing it in a movie theater and being fortunate enough, and it blew like Lauren was blown away by the fact of how many people were in the theater. It's because it's catching on, and it's also,
Yeah.
like the theaters do their discount Tuesday, Wednesdays, like where it's like tickets are cheaper. Like AMC, that we normally go to, their tickets are 50% off or something like that on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, which is amazing. That encourages people to go, obviously, but I mean, couldn't believe that the theater was full. Like, I'm not exaggerating. It was almost sold out. Like, it
that's
was
great.
packed.
Wow.
And that movie plays too in an audience. Like, John, you went like
Yeah,
the day it opened, right? Like, or the night before it opened. It was like, it's awesome to watch a movie like this and with an audience where where there are some jump scares and there's some like unsettling moments that aren't even jump scares, but they're just so creepy. And you just sit on a facial expression that is so uncomfortable. Like
Yes.
it's great, man. I can't wait for you to see it, Ronald. I think
I
you're gonna
can't
love it.
wait.
But that was great. Um, I'll just add real quick. I also saw Mandalorian Grogu. I mentioned it just now about in terms of like it kind of opening last weekend. And to John, what he said last week, I guess I kind of felt the same way. Like everything with Grogu works. I mean, it's fine. Like, my kids really liked it. Aaron, like, I think might have loved it.
Yeah.
But she's not like really deep in Star Wars, but she has watched all the Mandalorian. So like I
Hmm.
think she's really into that part of the Star Wars universe. So like that I think is probably where it succeeds the most is like that thing. But like for Star Wars overall, it does feel kind of minor, kind of more slight.
Right.
And but I mean it is what it's like kind of seems like it did exactly what it was trying to do.
I heard someone say that they gave it 3 stars out of 5, but that with the acknowledgement that it seemed to be trying to do that.
That's
Like that
literally
it,
I,
that,
I
that is
gave
sort
it
of
I
trying. When you say minor, it is like in a minor mode. And
yes.
because I went back
Yes.
and saw it a second time with Nikki and Henry, and it was a little more fun this time, kind of knowing what the scale was. And I think anytime you see a movie the second time, you're gonna, well, it's gonna go one way or the other. But I mean, it'll help cement things you liked about a movie,
Totally.
oftentimes.
Totally.
And I was loving. I mean, I giggled even harder at everything Grogu did the second time. I mean, I'm a sap for Grogu, but this time through, I
Absolutely.
was able to appreciate things. I was like, oh, now that I know what this movie is, I could see the way they were setting things up.
Right.
And what I did was, at that point I had seen several reports from friends with small kids and people that had been to crowded screenings with families and stuff, and were
Yeah.
talking about what a blast it was. And I was like, oh, okay, this movie's doing what it needs to do on a certain level. And so the fact that it's not 100% my Star Wars,
That's
it's like
exactly right.
I'm able to. Well, I mean, even before, I think you guys could tell I wasn't like being overly
Totally.
negative. I was just
Yeah.
kind of saying it didn't hit that absolute height that a Star Wars movie can hit, and it felt a little weird to come out with something that might not hit so hard for people when they haven't been in theaters for such a long time. But when you hear
Totally.
about families enjoying it, and kids, especially kids
That's
who
exactly
love
right.
Grogu
That's it.
coming and thinking it's great, it's like, okay, they, and I think I may have even said this too before, where it's like it might not look like a success if you're doing all this bean counting, but if in the long run you realize they kind of re-upped people's investment in this character, I do
Yeah.
think in a lot of ways Grogu, if they manage him well, can be a character I mean, because they've even said this character lives for hundreds of years.
I
It's like
know.
he can be the new backbone of what they're doing with Star Wars if they want that.
Yeah.
Do people want Dark Grogu when he hits 200? I don't know. But this movie made it really. I think that if anything, especially as a dad, Ronald, the thing this movie really hits. Have you seen it, by the way? Is this one of the movies you've secretly nipped off and seen?
No, I haven't seen it. No,
Okay.
I wouldn't
Um,
want to.
but like it taps into that. The trailer had that line: "The old protect the young, and then the young protect the old." I think even more so, this movie hits that idea that Mando, even if he lives a long life in his line of work, he's not going to live to see what Grogu becomes. He's not going to live to see
Yeah.
the best parts, probably, of Grogu's life. That hit like a ton of bricks for me, especially
Sure.
the second time when I kind of was noticing, like, oh yeah, this is more of a Grogu movie than a Mando movie. But Mando's moment of like, when they get his helmet off so you can see Pedro Pascal's face for at least a scene, and in that scene is when they hit him with that. Oh, you'll be dead long before he will. He'll have forgotten you or whatever. So it's like that is something that I think is incredibly touching and poignant about the whole Mando Grogu setup. Is that at some point when Grogu is still essentially acting like a little kid, Mando's going to be an old man if he lives that long. So,
Right.
Mm.
Right.
and I think that's soulful. The rest of the movie is maybe less less soulful than that notion. But Steve, you had to love Grogu running around with the Anzellans. I mean,
Oh my God, dude.
wasn't it
Like
just funny
like
and
coming out of the theater, my kids were like Because like we talked about Babu Frick, and it was like that's
Good
that's
job,
that
baby.
that's that, and they're like those little guys, man. Where do we get the toys of those? I'm like, God damn it, they did it. They really drove that home in this movie. Is that like they popped up in the show, but damn, those are good baby, good baby.
Yeah.
He's like, we come back. Like
I love
every time you could make a line out, Dylan, my
yeah.
son, was like, they're kind of like minions, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's what Star Wars is doing with this
Yeah.
character,
Right.
with those characters. Like they're going for these little minion things, and I was
Well,
like, yeah, they did it, I guess.
well, one thing they do is that makes them lovable too is they're littler than Grogu, who's already lovable and little,
And
and
little.
Grogu loves them. When
I
they
know.
show up and Grogu gets so excited and runs over there, it's so funny and cute. But you also
Well,
know
the
they're
first
kind of-
time you meet him in the show,
kind of
he like
annoyed
tries
by
to
him.
eat him.
Yeah,
Remember?
right.
He tries to eat them when he first meets
Yeah.
them, and it's like, no, you don't eat them. It's like, that's why
But then
there's
Mando
like bad
makes him
baby.
promise to behave, right?
Yes,
Well, I
yes,
just love
yes.
them being like, horrible baby," when they
Yeah.
first see him. But then later they're like, "Good job, baby."
Yeah.
And I also, but Steve, the funniest little line, the muttered line, is there's one part where they're looking in a pipe, and it's like Grogu pops his head up in the pipe. It's their way into the hut
Yeah.
palace.
Yeah.
And then Grogu pops his little head up, and then the little Anzellan comes up next to him, and then the camera zooms into the pipe to show you how long the pipe is. And then the little guy next to Grogu says, "Big pipe, eh?"
Yeah. Yeah, they were great, man. And this is what I'm saying. Like, it's just like the movies. I literally I felt the same way. Like, I gave it like a 3 out of 5. I'm just like, it's nothing like crazy for me, but it just felt like it's fine. It's fine. It was entertaining. It was fun. My
Yeah.
family loved it. It was a
Right.
good time at the movies. Like,
Yes,
It-
I'm
it-
not
a
going to be a
couple-
dick about this movie.
yes. Like a couple scenes really got me. Like
Yeah.
when he's going through the jungle, like when he's trying to get back, and it's like, or to lead people away from them.
Oh,
it's
that
like,
scene after he's let them. Oh,
yes.
yeah.
I
That's
was
a
like,
great
and the
Mando scene.
score in that scene,
Yeah.
it really got me, man. I was like, oh no, oh, not
no,
that I
they
thought
sell
anything
you
was
briefly.
happening.
They sell you briefly
Yes.
on the idea, right?
Yes,
Of something that can
yes,
happen.
and
yes.
that's the getting to the theme that you're talking about, though. Is like that's post, him accepting that,
Mhm.
like that's something that will happen, and you're like, oh no, it's gonna happen now. Like no, there's no way.
Well, and Steve, when they get to the ship and he realizes what's up,
Yeah,
that moment, you feel him go, "Oh, okay,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
not going to be as easy for me as I'd hoped." Yeah, no,
Yep.
you're right. That's
Yep,
good. That's good.
Yep. No, it's fine. It's like
Yeah,
I mentioned this last week when you were talking about it. Is like I've come to the realization even before watching it that it was like it did feel like this is not like the home run swing. Like this is not. This is just putting runners in scoring position for Star Wars. Like this is just kind of table setting. This is kind of keeping it relevant. This is kind of satisfying people that have stuck around to wait for something in theaters of what was successful among the series, which was definitely the Mando series, and to put it on the big screen and make some money and get people invested in it again or keep them invested in it because it does feel like hopefully the scope, the spectacle, the level of Star Wars that you and I are, I guess, trying to describe is probably more of what Starfighter would be, but that perspective that I have is more of maybe an adjustment in my brain
yeah,
that I've kind of like adjusted to, and I think that that's fine. I just think like it's fine, like
yeah.
it's successful. People love the Mandalorian. People love Baby Yoda, Grogu, and I think people really like this movie, and that's all it really has to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's not like an apology for it or like
No, it's not. It's
it's
weird.
not at all. But it never
but
was going
you
to
feel
do
like you have to
something.
talk about it in this way because this is like the frame of it. It is
Right.
a Star Wars movie that feels like it should be
Right.
this huge event, but it's weird to hold that against a movie that's, like you said, doing fine. This movie's doing what it's trying to do.
Yeah, and
pretty
it was
much.
never probably that movie. Like
Yeah,
there's no
no.
way this movie was ever like an episode film. Like
Yeah.
it's not that at all. Like even in scope, it's not that. It's so much smaller than that, and just kind of sort of like the show is. But
You know what, Steve? I think that this movie too. If you look at what actually happens in the movie, it is big enough if you get into the lore. It
Sure.
doesn't feel big enough in terms of what's set up in the movie, in terms of stories we've seen in the movies. For people that follow the cartoons and all the lore around that stuff, this feels like a major change to like the criminal underworld. Like
Yeah.
stories told after this will have to have a different like backdrop in a way if you do
Yeah.
those underworld stories, but it just doesn't feel that significant as a movie thing because we haven't been thinking about that world that much outside of,
Totally.
again, if you've been watching those shows. So I think
Totally
that's a
agree.
huge part of what it is too, is that like, okay, I can see how on paper this feels like a big enough story to be a movie. It just doesn't quite feel like it's a big enough story to be a movie when you're
That's
watching it
it.
in the theater.
Yeah. No, you're right.
But it's a weird thing to say because it's like it's bigger than so many movies, you know. It's just not big for a Star Wars movie. So, Ronald, have you seen anything else? You want to bring us home with anything?
No, I'm excited
Dramatic
about seeing.
Zoom.
I know. Excited about seeing Spider Noir. I'm probably gonna start on that
Oh
this
yeah, I gotta watch
coming.
that this week.
Yeah, I got to watch it.
Yeah. But
Have you watched
besides,
Widow's Bay yet?
first episode.
Okay, we just finished the season because we're impatient.
The season. Oh, I forgot we have access.
Yeah, we got it all, baby.
You got it all, baby. So, what'd you think overall?
Baby.
I like. So, I read an article saying that the genre changed halfway through the.
I think they're talking about there was a recent episode that felt like a slasher film
Oh.
after previous episodes had not hit that gong. Oh no.
Okay.
They might be talking about one that's like a more of a period piece. Anyway, like there's 2 or 3 kind of outlier episodes later in the season, but I would not say it changes genre. It doesn't change away from comedy horror.
No.
But I will say maybe it tilts towards horror comedy. If you're gonna say one of those genres is stronger, there's a couple later episodes that are like there's a 20-minute stretch before there's a funny moment, you know, and
Yes.
even then it's a situational moment. I was really impressed at. Have you finished the season, Steve?
Oh yes.
I finished. I was very impressed at how much they leaned into the darkness of one particular storyline in the last episode.
Yep.
I was very impressed with the show's like, okay, they're doing it. They're really doing a horror show that's very funny, as opposed to just a sitcom with horror elements in it. You know.
I had a tweet that was about period pieces.
Okay. That might be what they're talking about. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think the genre switches, but it does get like, you know, what happens when you're watching a prestige show, Ronald, around the 5th or 6th episode. You know, they do something wacky.
I had a. Well, you want to hear my period? This is from 10 years ago. Keira Knightley is on more period pieces than a tampon.
Could you say she's in more period pieces? Was that more
In more
anatomically
period-
correct?
In more period pieces.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I originally. I'm actually in more
Yeah.
period pieces than a tampon.
I think, you know, do you remember, Ronald, when we used to throw to you to say something to close out an episode?
Yeah.
I think you just.
I think you just did it.
You just did it. I think that's probably a good note right there.
It's a crazy thing to say, but like if you think about it, it's not that off.
No, it's really not. What's sad is who would that be now? Because I don't think Keira Knightley. Who would be the like if you were if you were out there, if you were a Road Dogg comic, right? And you're still doing that joke. Who have you updated that to?
Yeah, I
Who
mean,
does
I don't
period
think
pieces now?
because she's still in them. Like she still does
Is it
them.
still her though? What do you think, Steve? Do you think there's a new
I don't know. There's
period
got to be a
piece?
new go-to. It's probably oh God, who would that be?
Is it that dude that's in the dude that's in Euphoria?
Oh,
Jacob
Jacob
Elordi. I
Elordi?
think he's only been in like one, right?
Is he in the second one with the like?
I mean, the one in my mind, I'm thinking of it. I don't think there's really been that many, but maybe like 1 or 2 or 3. But like Florence Pugh,
Okay.
yeah. I was
uh,
thinking,
is in a few, but
but
I
not
don't know.
so much so that you associate her with them.
No. I think I honestly, it's still Keira Knightley.
Still Keira Knightley, man.
I mean, now that I think about it, it probably is still her.
Yeah.
She's the reigning that
Period
person.
piece champion.
Period piece champion.
And it's like one of those things where who's going to make enough now to unseat that, you know?
Right.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Right.
she just like didn't stop doing it. It's weird. It's like yeah,
Well, she's great. I mean, I
yeah,
think she's like built for it. She's made for it.
yeah.
Mhm.
All right, cool. I think that's an episode. Reminder, required viewing, Moneyball, John's pick, next week. Excuse me. Movieschmovie.com is the website you can go to subscribe to the podcast if you'd like. You can listen to episodes right there on the website as well. You also have the YouTube option, youtube.com/movie podcast, where you can also watch. You can watch the whole podcast, parts of the podcast, or Ronald's Home Cut series, where he walks through and reviews the Kaleidoscape drops. Any scheduled? Are they up? What's the most recent one? I know I saw
No
some
Time to Die.
chatter going back and forth.
No
Right.
Time to Die
No
just
Time to
came
Die.
out. Yeah.
I'm going to start a new cold cut series
Cold
Cold
cuts.
where you see me making a belly sandwich.
It's just deli sandwich, and we just go around and review them.
I won't show you how to make the sandwich or the sandwich because that's like influencer
okay.
shit.
Good,
I
good,
will
good.
just eat a sandwich and then talk about it. And talk about whether it was good.
After
And I'll
the
talk
fact.
about the yeah.
That's exciting.
It's all
Talk about-
past tense. Like I went there, I ate it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll
that's
talk
the
about the
episode.
sound quality and the resolution of the sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll record like audio. You'll have audio of you eating it, but don't show it.
Overplayed while I'm talking, like really
Right.
loud. You'll hear
Right.
like,
Like, what did he say? That sounds like a good cold cut. Right. I think we're onto something here.
I'd watch that.
and I'll rate it like I give
buy
it.
that
I
for
give
an
it
hour.
3 pickle spears.
All right, man. Well, good to see you both. Thank you all for listening. Ronald, I'm glad you made it through the episode. Thank you for
Yes.
your endurance and perseverance. We
I had
all
one
appreciate
moment where I was like,
it.
I'm good now.
You're like, that's not my stomach. That's
You
just
just-
my nausea at John's opinions.
Yeah.
He's like, what did he say about Backrooms? Yeah.
Man. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for listening. As always, you made our day. Thanks.
Bye.
You did it, Ronald. You're a champ.
I
Yeah,
did
you
it.
really did it.